Hello my quilting family. Today I'm going to give you a quick video on pressing. Now what I've done is I've selected some pieces, but of course they're wrinkly out of the box, so we're going to have to press. I hope we're picking the worst of them to show you how to press, not iron, press. And then once we get some of these pieces pressed, I'll show you how to press a block. Okay? Be right back here. So what I did was I picked the worst of the ones that were wrinkled. You can see this has got some pretty gnarly little wrinkles in there. We're going to have a hard time getting that flat. Now, heat alone might not take these wrinkles out. Right? So as you can see, my iron's been heating for a while, and it's not budging them. It's flattening them a little bit, but that's about it. What I like to do, because I don't want to put water in my iron, because I feel that it reduces the life of the iron. The last iron I had was something like 20 plus years old, and it just died recently, but I had never put water in it. So what I do is I just have a spray bottle, and it does a fine mist, and I just put a little bit of water down. Now, instead of steaming it, what this does is it does shrink it a little. So I wouldn't put water on a quilt block or pieces that I've already cut, but I'm okay putting water on an item that hasn't been cut, that I'm getting ready for pressing. And we're just going to need a little bit more water here. And the other thing I use, if this is a beautiful batik, so it doesn't need much, and I'm always pressing from the wrong side. If you had fabric that was, you know, a little bit loosey-goosey and it needed more body and it needed more, you know, what you would do is you would put starch. I would put starch on at this stage. This fabric is pretty good. It's a really tight wove. It's a very tight weave, because the way batiks are made, they're boiled. So it has shrunk pretty much as it's going to shrink. But I do put starch, and, you know, to flatten out, take really deep wrinkles out. And sometimes, yeah, starch, and I sometimes make my own starch from scratch. And I'll show you. I'll send you a recipe on that. I'll make sure that ends up in the show notes. So here we are. It's flat. I'm going to make a block, and then I'm going to come back to show you how to press a block. Okay, now that we've got our pieces sewn together, including the triangle pieces, we're going to iron everything, or press everything, with the dark side up. Like this strip is red and dark cream, so we're going to go with the red is the darker of the colors. So basically we want to set our stitches, and we don't scrub. We just press up and down, and I'll exaggerate the motion. And then this way, right? So basically we're pushing the thread that made our seam into our fabric. Then we're going to take our iron and push the red over, just very slowly. And you kind of nudge yourself into the seam with the edge of your iron. But you're still only pressing because that motion of this is there, right? So now you get everything pushed without any little micro seams or micro pleats in here. And I take my tailor's clapper, and you don't have to buy a fancy one. You can just have the hardware guys actually cut, you know, a 2x4 or 4x4 or whatever into, let's say, a length of 15 inches and sand it. That's all you need for a tailor's clapper. It has to be heavy though, right? Because that's going to push that seam flat, and then we move over again. Just one more. Now that seam is about as flat as it's going to get at this point. And you just press just a little bit. Okay, now we take our next triangles, And we press in our seams. And this is where we're making the big brother and the little brother. So now I'm going to cut this open. And push over the red so that, I've pressed now to the dark. And I'm going to get my clapper on that. And then, I've ran out of room. Okay, so I'm just going to move this over. And I'm going to press the little brother over. And he has a little dog ear, so we have to trim him up, but and we'll just leave it there just a second. Now I'll finish ironing the rest, sew the blocks together, and then I'll meet you back here at the ironing board so that I can show you how I press my blocks. So now we've sewn our blocks together, and we've got the regular churn dash block, and what we're making from the cut off pieces, the baby brother, we've got the pinwheel. We also have a 4-patch, but there wasn't enough to make a 4-patch with a pair, so I made a 4-patch that's not a pair, but it'll be cute and scrappy, it'll be fine. And also now I have a collection of little 1.5-inch bits, so I'm also using those as leader and enders. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the seam on the back of this, okay, so you can see how I spin my seam. So I put my fingers in like this and I just pull that seam apart, and then I kind of finger press it open so that it creates a little itty bitty 4-patch in the back, and this is the front, so it will press really flat, really beautifully. Now let me just do this again with a bigger piece. It's still a 1/4-inch seam, so you're not going to, so I'm going to put that this way, right there, and then I'm just going to pull it apart, right, like that, and then it's going to be finger pressed first, and you'll see that cute little 4-patch in the back right there, and that's what the front looks like now. We can also do this with our pinwheel. Now the pinwheel, because there's more fabric that goes into the middle, you kind of, sometimes you might have to get your stitch ripper out and just break a few stitches so that you get down to the point. I was lucky, I didn't have to, so there it is. There's the center piece now being broke. And when I flip that open, it's going to lay much flatter. And you see how all the seams kind of go the same direction, right? So it creates a really flat, perfect block. And this is what it looks like from the front. So this, however, you haven't got really a center seam, but you can still spin key points in here to reduce bulk, like this one. Right along that accent seam, you can kind of get in there and just pull it apart, break your seam a little bit, and that way you can iron it much flatter, and then all the seams will rest a little flatter. So now, when I pull it apart, open it up, there you go. It's going to lay really flat now. So let's start from the back when we're pressing our block. And again, I've got my handy tailor clapper. So I'm going to start in the far corner here, and I'm going to make sure I see where my seam has been swirled to, because I don't want to lose that really flat area. I'm going to just take my time, make sure all the seams are going the way I need them to, and lift and press, lift and press. It kind of becomes a habit after a while. You don't have to really think about it too much. There we go. Well, I hope you're having a good week. The weather here in Canada, here in Edmonton, has been amazing. Just amazing. Okay, so now I've kind of got all my seams going the way I need them to. So now I'm going to start putting the clapper across. Okay. So I'm heating up a certain area. And then I move my clapper and heat another area. And you press down just a bit. Get across. And you heat up another area. Heat another area. Now, if you've sewn a twisted seam by accident, now's a good time to have a scissor and just clip it. I haven't sewn a seam. So now I just give it a little wee spin. So I'm going to go the other direction now. I get my clapper right in there, right away. And now I flip it over and just give it a quick press to make sure I don't have any little micro pleats in there. Excuse my arm if it's in your way. And there's our block. Now I got to do the pinwheel now. And basically I'm going to press in the middle while I push down seams and iron them into place. Remember we were doing a clockwise turn? Well, you want all your pinwheels to spin the same way because then they nest really lovely when you're sewing them together. And I haven't trimmed these pinwheels yet because I don't get excited about trimming pinwheels until I'm ready to put them in a quilt. Put it across that center piece, press, cross, press. Okay, and give it a little press from the top, make sure there's no micro pleats. There we go, and there we go. And again, with a little four patch, you can usually just get it at an angle, and then press down. Press on front. We have no micro pleats. Excellent. And now the baby four patch. Wow, it just disappears right under my iron. And that one's perfectly flat as well. One of the other things too about care of your iron, this faceplate now, just a minute here, is getting a little grimy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, wait till it cools, and just clean it with a bit of baking soda and water once the plate is cool, and maybe a little vinegar, you know, on the outside of the plate just to get a nice clean shiny. You should probably do this about once a month to your iron. Again, I don't put water in my iron, and I seem to have them for a very long time. So it's up to you. Some of them have, you know, beautiful steam press. This one has a reservoir to fill up with water as well, but you know, I don't know where we got this, but anyways, so there we are. I hope this helps you with your pressing, but the combination of dry heat and a clapper is just wonderful for flat blocks, and they stay flat. Okay? Hopefully we'll talk to you later. Bye!